everybody. Jennifer McCune here. So excited to bring you another episode, feature another amazing woman on Mompreneur Next Door. So for those of you who have been tuning in, or if you haven't, just a friendly reminder, I like to come weekly and feature these amazing moms who are also doing entrepreneurship for a few reasons. One of which is to highlight incredible moms and share their journey with you. Might help them grow their business, which is always great. And the other reason is to inspire and support all of you who might be thinking of doing something. We talk a lot about the good old boys club and men supporting each other and women not necessarily doing the same. And I see so many women supporting one another that I want to highlight them and help really embrace this community of women supporting women, moms supporting moms, women empowering women. So Sunday Burquest is our fantastic guest this week. I'm so excited for you guys to learn more about her. She's a beautiful mom of 4 older children, 18 to mid-20s, who started her entrepreneurial journey just a few years ago. And she and I connected via social media, a referral, which, I just love social media. It brings all these incredible people into our lives. And Sunday lives in Minnesota. I'm in Virginia. We might not otherwise have met except for through social media. And she has a really unique background of things that she's done that you might have even seen her on TV. That's just a little teaser. So you better stay tuned and learn more about her journey. So Sunday, I'm so excited that you joined us today. Will you tell us a little bit more? So you started this path about 3+ years ago. Will you tell everybody what you were doing prior to starting your entrepreneurship?
Sure. Well, thanks for having me, first of all.
Absolutely.
Prior to starting my own business, I was actually in ministry for 26 years, the last 15 of it as a youth and young adult pastor with my husband. So I think a lot of people don't realize that ministry is like a business, and it's a customer-based business, which so many of ours are. So I've been putting principles of working with people into practice for a very long time.
Absolutely, 100%. And really helping people. I think one thing people forget, a lot of us who find entrepreneurship and decide to start our own businesses really like helping people. And that's a foundational element of ministry, right? So those both go hand in hand. So why did you decide to start your own business? What did that, presumably with 4 kids and working with your husband, you probably could have worked nonstop. Why did you decide to add something else to your already full plate?
I think for a lot of us, we can get, I don't know about you, but wrapped up in just the whole thing of just being a mom. Not just, but it's overwhelming, right? And a wife. And if you're working outside of the home, as I was with my husband, after a number of years, you find yourself like, I'm just kind of going through the motions every day. I've taught so many lessons and so many leaders, and I'm just kind of doing it. And my husband and I always kind of knew that I, at some point, wanted to be speaking on my own instead of just in the confines of an organization or ministry. And so it's something that was kind of always there. And I think that as women, most of us, all of us, have some kind of dream or purpose on the inside. And it's so easy to let that fall to the wayside when we're so wrapped up in our kids' lives. But I think it's always there nagging. And so through a series of events, which started in 2012 with a breast cancer diagnosis, my world was turned upside down, of course. I say it's one of those things that divide your life from a before and an after. And I got the diagnosis. I had multiple surgeries, 8 rounds of chemo, radiation, and actually came away depressed and full of anxiety, something I really didn't know was going to come with the cancer.
And your kids were pretty little at this. They were what, from
when I was 12
11 to teen? Yeah, that's still a lot of mom involved work at that time.
Absolutely. And it was difficult because just a year earlier, my husband actually almost died twice. And I had felt like they barely recovered from that. And not only that, in the years leading up to it, they had lost both grandfathers to cancer.
Oh my gosh.
So in their experience, the people they loved that got cancer died.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, that's not happening. You know, I'm going to fight. We're going to, you know, do this. And I did every single thing I could do possible. And I did walk away, you know, I'm in remission. It's my 7 years. It was 7 years in April. But after getting through that, my oldest son came to me, and it was about 3 years into the anxiety and kind of past the cancer diagnosis. He's like, Mom, you got through the cancer. I think you should go for your dream. And I was about to turn 45, and I thought, you know what? If I'm ever going to go for it, now's the time. And here was the thing. I had a story now. When you go to do what I did, you need a story. And so what I did is I auditioned for the reality TV show Survivor. And when they're casting for a reality TV show, they're looking for someone with a story.
Right.
I had a story.
Right.
And through a series of, you know, phone calls and interviews, it's a really, really long casting process. I was invited to participate in the 33rd season, which still, I want to pinch myself, and I can't believe it.
I know, how crazy, right? How wonderful.
It was wonderful and horrible all at the very same time.
Probably not horrible as much as horrifying, because it wasn't horrible. I mean, you did an amazing job. Or was it really horrible being on the show? Did you mean that?
No, I didn't mean that. It was, you know, going without toilet paper and soap and toothpaste and toothbrushes and a toilet seat and a mirror and all those things, and food. Going without
just little things, you know.
Things like food. But through that process, I knew I had grit. I had just proved it to myself getting through cancer. Now this is a whole nother level, and it's you may not realize it from watching the show, but mentally, emotionally, all of it, it's so taxing. So I had to dig to a whole nother level of grit. And I was stronger than I thought I would be. And I was more brave than I ever thought I would be. And I know that every other woman is. They just don't always put it to the test. Don't always have the opportunity to put it to a test. And that was a gift for me. So when I got back from the show, it was enough of a platform for my husband and I to agree, okay, I'm going to resign from my position. And now I'm just really going to follow the actual dream, which is to reach out to women and help other women discover their grit that they already have. And so I made the leap. I stepped down from my job and was like, okay, here we go. And I'm still in the learning process now. I learn something new every day.
And so what does that platform look like? When you reach out to, are you talking about coaching sessions? Are you talking about seminars? What does that look like?
So it's all kind of, it started with speaking, and I wrote a book. And then it was just starting to build this online community. Now later this fall, I have a fall event, my second annual in November. And from there, I'm going to be launching an online membership community and incorporating coaching. So that's all in the works right now. From this point until now, I've been building my Facebook, and I have a closed group with about 1,200 women in it right now. And there's coaching, but it's like talking, right? But later I put a name on it. It's coaching. This is events in the area, a yearly retreat for women. And so right now it's just been a process of building this base of women and giving them a place of community. I have discovered when I hosted my first retreat last spring, there were 6 women that came that didn't know a single person. To me, to show up to a women's retreat and know nobody, that's grit.
Yeah.
And I realized they didn't have communities of women. And the communities they had found were women that were competing with each other, not collaborating with each other. Mm-hmm. And that weren't there to support each other, but see what they could get from each other. And I just really feel that that's really not how we're wired at our core. So how about we build a community where we can help each other, support each other, collaborate with each other, really to bring out the best in all of us.
That abundance mindset, right? That's what I totally agree with you.
Yes,
One of the reasons why we connected, and we just had such a great conversation, Yeah,
Yes. Yeah.
absolutely, 100%. So
Mm-hmm.
we all know, like, this sounds amazing what you're doing. There might be a lot of people out there who are thinking, well, I can't go on Survivor. I don't have the story. So how do I do what you're doing? Can you just share? We'll get to a little bit more about that. I want to plant that seed because there might be people talking about that. I know there have been a lot of benefits and a lot of challenges. Start with which one you like better that you want to start with. We'd love to hear about the benefits, what's been going so great about being your own boss, and of course, the challenges, the things that you're having a hard time with.
Well, I'll start with challenges only because I feel like with most things, there's a challenge and a strength to the very same thing, right? So a challenge for me is sometimes I'm isolated. I feel like I'm doing this all on my own in my house. I'm used to working with a group of people in an office. And so that can feel isolating and lonely. But the benefit side is I get to make all the decisions. The challenge of that is I'm responsible for all the
Right.
decisions.
Exactly.
So that can be challenging and a benefit, but I do think more of a challenge feeling isolated and having to make a point to connect with other women like yourself or other women in business where I can learn. Another challenge is just that growing stage, because like just say the speaking aspect, there's a lot of places that want you to come speak if you have a certain amount of experience, but you can't get the experience unless someone lets you come and speak.
Right.
So it's that in-betweener stage. It's that stage where I think most dreams and businesses die,
Yep.
sadly. In that stage of waiting, being patient, building, feeling like you're working all day, every day, but you're not seeing the benefits of it quite yet.
Mm-hmm.
That's challenging. The benefits, I would say, is when something positive happens, I get to take all the credit, which sounds terrible, but I can look back and go, I did that. I did that. I had a part to play in this woman being encouraged or inspired or finding new friends or feeling like she had hope. I got to do that. The other benefits are obviously my schedule. I can dictate. Now, that can sometimes be a challenge for me because I don't stay on top of my time management. But the other benefits are just getting the chance to dream and put on a piece of paper a dream and then see it come into reality. Oh, I could host an event like myself and people would actually pay money and sign up and come. I mean, that's a huge benefit. I'm not running someone else's event, I'm running mine. And it's daunting, but I can't think of anything more rewarding when I see a group of women or even one woman that's life has been changed because of it.
Right, right, 100%. And you alluded to another, I think, huge benefit. I think it's so great that it was your son who came to you and encouraged you to do this. And I think
Mm-hmm.
when we do entrepreneurial ventures, our kids learn a lot too. No matter what age they are, I think they take it in and they learn a ton. And your kids are older, so they're even learning it on a different way than the younger kids do. I think that's a huge
Yeah,
benefit, don't you?
I 100% agree. And I'll give you a little tiny example of that. When I went through the casting process to get on the show, I was still working with young adults as a mentor and pastor. So in the casting process, the producers, they kind of go at you because it's like if they can get you to crack in the producing room, you're not going to make it on the island. And so I'm getting questions like, well, what kind of example are you setting for your young adults? Because you're going to be on a show where you have to lie. They're going to see you lying, you know? And I said, yeah, but I'll tell you this, when I play sorry with my kids and they land on my spot, I pump them off the spot because it's a game. And I said, what my young adults are going to walk away with is it doesn't matter your age, you can go for your dream. I was turning 45.
Yeah.
And so many of us as women, especially moms, we count ourselves out. Well, I raised my kids. Well, I'm over 40. I must be done now. And wow, it's like we're getting the gift of time at this point in our life to really, really go for what's in our hearts.
Absolutely. And you said something earlier, you like, I get to take credit for it. It's all me. And you apologize for saying that. But excuse me, it's interesting if one of your friends, if you were saying to one of your friends, you did it all. So you would be like, absolutely, you totally
Yes,
backed her up. And sometimes we just speak to ourselves very negatively. And I say to people, speak to yourself like you're your best friend. And I think that will change that voice in your
yes,
head. If we're not lifting ourselves up, how are our children seeing that as an example? So I think that's amazing
yes,
that you said, yes, I did that all myself, because you've
yeah.
worked very hard to be at that place. I think that's fabulous. I think it's fantastic. So
And I've said the same thing to people. And I have said, as little girls growing up, we were told to be polite and not brag. And so I think it comes natural for us to downplay our strengths. And I've had the same conversation. I've said to other women, no, you own it. You say, hey, I am good at this. So I am good at this.
exactly. Exactly. So all of that being said, as great as you are at it, and you're obviously amazing, one challenge that crops up again and again for moms, especially, is setting boundaries. And you've been building this at a time that you have still had a high school age child at home. Have you had a challenge with setting those boundaries of work time, mom time, wife time, all of that?
Oh, I think it's a revolving door of daily challenges. Now, I did just drop off my youngest at college last week, and that's brought its own challenges as I'm adjusting.
Yes.
Because sometimes you think, well, if I just had more time, I'd get everything done. But when you have more time, you have more time also to procrastinate and to waste time and to not be as scheduled as you once were when you absolutely had no choice but to be scheduled.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm still adjusting and playing with how do I manage my time? Because now I have no excuse anymore. I can't blame my kids for taking up my time. And, that's a
I think
challenge.
that's a very good point, though. It's easy to say, oh, the grass is greener.
Oh,
I'll whatever when. But each
yep.
stage has its own set of challenges, right? That's a great
Yeah,
point.
absolutely. Yeah.
That's a great point. So
Hmm.
if you could look back and give your younger you some advice, it took your son telling you, Mom, you have your story, go for it. If you could take your younger you and give yourself some advice, what would that look like, Sunday?
I would give myself permission to follow my dreams sooner. I would, in the context of the limitations I thought that I had for myself for reasons why I couldn't follow my dream, really in actuality weren't nothing really, really drastically changed in my life from the time that I stepped out into them and when I didn't, other than my mindset. So go for it earlier. And that's my biggest advice I would have given myself.
What were your
I don't,
excuses?
well, I've got kids and it's going to cost too much money and I don't know what I'm doing. And what if, all those fear based, well, what if no one likes it? What if no one listens to me? What if it doesn't work? And that kind of a thing. And I wished that none of those things really necessarily changed. The only change was that I realized I had grit. I realized I had confidence to actually take the step. But that was there all along. It was there
Okay,
all along.
Dorothy from Kansas, right? I love that. You had the power in you all along, right? You had your
Yep.
red ruby slippers and you
Yeah.
just were not paying attention. That's
Yep.
amazing. And I
Yep.
think those excuses that you told yourself are pretty standard ones for most any mom. Don't
Mm-hmm.
have the time, don't have the money, my kids too
Uh-huh.
busy. Pick your thing, but it boils down to the grit and the tenacity, right?
Yep. Yep.
There's no good time.
Right. And they are legitimate reasons. They're reasons, but they don't have to be excuses. I
Mhm.
mean, I remember when I was young and you would, when you're first married or whatever, and you're thinking about kids, like, well, I can't afford kids yet. And what does every older person tell you? If you waited till you had the money, you'd never have kids. It's
Exactly.
kind of the same thing. If you wait till you're ready and think you have all your ducks in a row, you're never going to get there. So,
And what I found too is somebody's excuse why not is somebody's reason why. I
mm-hmm.
don't have enough
Yeah.
time can translate to I got to do this now. I want to have more time. I don't have
Yes.
enough money. Well, I got to do this now because I want to have more money. So it's again goes
Yes.
back to that mindset, right?
Yes. Absolutely.
So there are a lot of moms who watch this and who tune into the blog, because we have the blog too, where we feature
Mhm.
all of you amazing women who might be already just starting something or thinking about starting something. Do you have 2 or 3 actionable items, actionable tips that you can give that might help them?
Yeah, I do. First of all, find a support system and, not realize going into it, not everyone's going to support your dream. And when that first person looks at you like a deer in the headlights or says, can you afford that? Or, well, what about XYZ? You don't need to attack them, but in your mind decide they're not my support team.
Mm-hmm.
I need a few people. Maybe if you only find one, start with one person that's 100% in your corner that will encourage you, that will say, you can do this, that won't look at you like you're crazy. Because if you listen to those voices, it'll stop you in your tracks, but your dream's not their dream. It's not possible for them to be as passionate as you are. So find a support person, and then build a few more people around you that are 100% believe in you.
And I just want to reiterate one point you just said. Your dream is not their dream. I think
Yeah.
I talk to so many people who are like, well, I'll talk to so and so, and if they think it's a good idea, I'll do it. I'm like, do you like the idea? Because are they living your life? It is really
Yes.
impressive at even, our advanced age of being in our 40s, haha, how many people we talk to who are so fixated on what other people think and let that
Yes.
stifle whatever dreams they may have. So I
Yep.
love that your
Yeah.
dream is not their dream. Okay, please
Yeah.
go on. I just thought
And
that was so amazing.
yeah, that's so, and not to be disappointed when they're not as excited as you about it, because they're not living it. And don't get mad at them. Just like, okay. The second one I would say, and I've learned this the hard way, is that you're not going to buy your way to success. You won't buy your way to success. And you will find a million places you can put money to improve your speaking, to improve your online community, to improve your writing, to improve your this, to get a TED Talk, to coach for this, coach for that. And I have spent money and I have not spent money. And I've learned that there wasn't a huge difference. Now there's things I needed to learn, but there's so much you can learn for free without spending the money. And so I think so many of us think when you start a business, you tell yourself, well, I need to make an investment. You can't make money without spending money. And you sink all this money into something, which in reality, when you're first starting out, you don't really totally 100% know how it's going to go. So you end up wasting money on things that shift as you go and as you learn and as you form what you're doing anyways. Excuse me. Tickle in my throat.
Have you read Rachel Hollis?
Heard of it.
Girl Wash Your Face. And so she was one of the speakers. I'll just talk while you get that out of your throat. She was one of the speakers at our convention last year. And it was amazing. She talked about how she really leveraged and moved on in her business, and it was all free. She was like, there's so much that you can learn on the internet now
Yes.
for free. Leverage it, and look what she's doing. So
yeah. I learned I didn't need to spend money, and I wasn't going to buy my way to success anyways. If you bought it, it's not truly your success.
That goes back to a question I had earlier that I said we'd get back to, and this is the perfect point. So and then I want to hear your third tip. I haven't forgotten. For people who are thinking, oh, well, of course people are going to want to listen to her speak or buy her book. She was on Survivor. What would you say to those people?
I would say there's something in you that other people need. And you're the only person in some people's lives that can supply that piece to the puzzle. Like if you think about it, our lives are like puzzle pieces and we need each other. Like we don't necessarily always see the completed puzzle, but there's a bigger picture. And I need what you have because I can't get it from anybody else. And you need what I have because you can't get what I have from anybody else. So I think part of that goes back to understanding your value. And secondly, that I need what you have. And it's going to look different than every other woman. And it should, because you're different and you're unique the way that you are.
I love that. That's amazing. Thank you for sharing that. So back to then actionable pieces of advice. Do you have a third one? I didn't mean to cut you off.
No. I really, my first one, we went there in the first, which was just to go for it if I talk to my younger self. So that was really my first one. My second one, finding your support team. My third one, you're not going to buy your way to success. And you know what? I'll tag on there. When you make mistakes, big deal. We all make mistakes. At least you're doing something. You can't move a parked car. The biggest mistake you can make is to just do nothing. So as long as you're in motion, then how about give yourself a little break? Like you talked about earlier, we're so hard on ourselves. I would never say to my friend, give it up. You've only had 2 people. What are you even bothering for? Would you ever say that to someone? Never. Yet we say it to ourselves all the time. So give yourself a break, ladies.
And I don't call them mistakes or failures. I call them teachable moments. So it's
because that's what they are.
Absolutely.
They are. Absolutely.
So, we're nearing the end of this amazing interview. 2 more things I want to ask you. One, do you have any favorite podcasts or books or other personal development, professional growth that you would recommend that you love?
I should have categorized these earlier. I mean, I like to listen to podcasts that are other women doing things similar to what I'm doing because I like ideas and there's nothing new really under the sun. So I like the Gold Digger podcast. I like Rachel Hollis, we've already mentioned. I found a wonderful woman named Denise Walsh. I like her. Actually got to be on her podcast and I love her podcast about following dreams. So anything that has to do with women in my same space, I think is helpful. I like Dr. Caroline Leaf. She has a lot of books about self-care and thoughts and how you're speaking to yourself, and that's really helpful to me. As far as personal development, for me, it changes based on what I'm doing, and I'm always looking for ways to grow and develop without paying for it. I mean, I do pay for some things, but I'm looking like, could I learn how to use Zoom when I didn't know how to use it? Could I learn how to incorporate this app or this aspect? And I think, as we get older, we get intimidated by some of these online things. And they're not that scary if we just take the time to learn them. And
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So before I let you go, one last question. Is there anything that I should have asked you and I didn't? Is there anything that you would like to share that you feel like, oh gosh, I just didn't get to say this?
No, I think you really covered it. I think our conversation kind of weaved. My biggest thing is that every woman can do it, and don't listen to the lie that you can't. And I think we've kind of covered that and hit that a little bit. So I just want to encourage
that voice in your head is that big lie, right?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. Well, thank you so much, Sunday. I know that so many people are going to love hearing your story. So many people will resonate. And you're right. Even if they don't have the exact same story, there's so many elements of it. It can be so relevant and inspirational and be just what they needed to hear today to make that change in their life. So thank you.
I agree.
Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you, Jennifer.